Okay, I want to do a short video on my seed starting oven. I constructed this a few years ago and it's been working out pretty well. This is revision 2 of it. Basically it consists of a plywood box made out of 1/2-inch plywood for the sides, the back, and the door. And then I wrapped it in insulating foil. This foil is typically used for water heaters, and it's a sandwich of foil on the outside and what looks like bubble pack in the middle. It's only about 1/4 of an inch thick, but it works quite well to keep the heat in to the oven. So one of the things I did was I made frames look like this out of 3/4 by 3/4 inch wood, and I think they're about 1/2 inch thick, but you can make it whatever size you like. There are these 3/4 by 3/4 inch slide holders or tray holders on the sides that hold the trays. I made the trays by putting a piece of hardware cloth, or about 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch screen. It's very galvanized screen. Cut out a section, and then I basically stapled it to each one of these frames, like you see here. And they slide it in and out. Now what I put on the frames, or the trays, are these 4-inch flower pot holders, or they go underneath a flower pot to catch the water. And what I did was I took the 4-inch ones, they're only about 20 cents a piece. I drilled some holes in them, and then what I do is I fill them with vermiculite, put them in a tray of water. The vermiculite absorbs the water through the holes, put my seeds in them, put a little bit more vermiculite over them, and then I put them in sandwich bags to retain the moisture. And I've made these dimensions, which are about 13 inches by 12 inches, roughly, to hold 9 of these 4-inch holders, seed holders, on each tray. So for 3 trays, I can hold 27 of these little seedling containers that I made, and it works out quite well. Now how I heat it, let me take these out and I'll show you. I originally had wire, heating wire that I used, and that was a problem because I had to use two sets of heating wires, and they both had different thermostats and they were going on and off, and the temperature wasn't regulated very well, to say the least. These are the kind of wires I use. They're made out of nichrome wire, and they're very difficult to solder when you cut out the thermostats, which I wanted to do because I wanted to use this little baby, this regulator here. This is a temperature controller. It's sold, I bought it on eBay for, no, I bought it on Amazon, I think, for about 15, 16 bucks. And I really love it, it's great. Simple to use once you decipher the quasi-English they have on the instructions. And this wire here is the sensor wire. So you just connect up the sensor wire. I drilled a hole in one of the shelf tray holders right here, so it wouldn't interfere with the shelves, and brought it out with a wire coat hanger to the center of the box. The second wire just goes to this heating mat I bought. This is a 10-inch by 20-inch heat mat used for seedling trays, so it's just about the same size as a seedling tray. And I attached it in there with some screws and some washers, being careful not to puncture the mat. I just folded it around the corner, so there's some on the bottom here, there's some of the heat mat in the back, and there's some on the top. And that's enough to heat up the oven. The third wire naturally just goes to the power. So this is just the power. So there's 3 pairs of wires: the power, the heat mat, and the sensor. So by setting this, you can set the control to whatever temperature you want. I have it set at about 70 degrees now, but because it's open, it's cooler. It's about 62 in here, 63 where I am. So if I close it, it'll start to warm up. Little dot here tells you that it's heating, and it works quite well. You can set it to whatever temperature you want for seedlings, and it can adjust the temperature to within 1 degree, 2 degrees, or 3 degrees. It comes default set to 3 degrees. I set it to 2 degrees, and it works quite well. So that's about it. It was worked quite well with 27 trays in there, three trays and 27 containers. It's really easy to use. Some modifications I'm going to make There are some seedlings like impatiens that require light to germinate, so I'm thinking of putting some strips of LEDs on the top, as long as they don't add any heat. And they take about 12 volts, and that would keep light, at least on the top tray, for those seeds that need light to germinate. Okay, that's about it. If you got any questions or comments, please leave them. Please subscribe, and please like the video if you do. Thanks very much.